Hello, my name is Peter Mavrakis. Here is a theory demonstration video, and here is the circle of fifths. Circle of fifths is a circle that shows us the sequence of sharps separated from the clockwise and the sequence of flats from the left side. Circle of fifths start with C. C, there's no sharps, no flats. Then continue with G. That there's one sharp. Then with D, that there's two sharps. Then with A, there's three sharps. Then with E, that there's four sharps. Then with B, that there's five sharps. Then with F sharp, that there's six sharps. And then with C sharp, that there are seven sharps. So this is the sequence of sharps. Now, for the flats, we start with F, that there's one flat. Then continue with B, that there's two flats. Then with E, that there's three flats. And all that scales are flat as well. Then with A flat, that there's four flats. Then with D flat, that there's five flats. Then with G flat, that there's six flat. And then with C flat, that there's seven flats. So here is the circle of fifths, and circle of fifths help us and show us how many sharps or flats there is in the scale. Key signature. Key signature are the sharps or flats at the beginning of the piece, exactly after the clef and before the tight signature, that show us the scale that we are. For example, here we have F sharp, we are in G major. And here is a time signature as well. If we have F sharp and C sharp, here then we are in D major. So here is the key signature. Node interval. Node interval is the distance between any two nodes and is divided in two parts. For example, if we are in C major scale, here we have C. There is again, here is the harmonic interval. Now, if it's played like that, now here is the melodic interval. Now, if we are in C scale again, and we are in the first node of the scale, and it's played like that, this is called unison. And then you continue like that. This is the second. This is the third. The fourth. This is the fifth. This is the sixth. This is the seventh. And here is the octave. So here is the node interval. Scales. About scales, we have minor scales and major scales with sharps and flats. I will write down now all the scales. I will start with the major scales. So, with flats, we start with F, I continue with B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, and C flat. So here is all major scales with flats. Now we continue with sharps, and we start with G, then we're going with D, with A, with E, and with B, and we continue with F sharp, and finally with C sharp major. So here is all the major scales with sharps. Now we're going to the relative minors. So now here we have the minor scales. We will start with the flats. So we start with the D minor, continue with the G minor scale, then with C minor scale, then with the F minor scale, then with B flat minor scale, then with E flat minor scale, and finally with A flat minor scale. So here is all the relative minor scales of the major scales here with all flats. Now we continue with the sharps. With sharps we start with the E minor, then with B minor, continue with the F sharp minor, then with the C sharp minor, then with the G sharp minor, then with the D sharp minor, and finally with the A sharp minor. So here is all the minor scales, the relative minor scale of the major scales here with all the sharps. And finally the C scale is exception, is the only one that is there's no flat, no sharps, and the relative is the A minor. So here is the scales. Chords. For chords, we could say that chords call the three notes or more that sounded together. So here we have, for instance, C major scale and the C chords. So as we can see here, we have third major interval, and here we have perfect fifth. So here is a major chord. We continue here. If we put one flat here in the E note, so now we have here minor third, and here we have again perfect fifth. So now here we have minor chord. We continue here. Now here, if we put one sharp in the fifth note in G, we start here again and we have major third, and here we have augmented fifth. So here we have augmented chord. And finally, here we have symmetrical chord, but if we put two flats here in the E and G, we have here minor third and here we have diminished fifth. So here we have the diminished chord. So here there is the chords. Now here we have note values. There are so many note values. Now we will show here the main notes. We start with the semi-brief. Here is the semi-brief. We continue with minim. Then we have the crotchet. Then we have the quaver. And then we have the semi-quaver. Now the values of these notes, we have here the semi-brief is 4 beats. For minim is 2 beats. Crotchet is 1 beat. Value of quaver is half beat. And the semi-quaver is 1/4 beat. So here is the main note values. Time signature. Time signature is the sign that shows us the time inside the piece, and we can find it exactly after the key signature. For example, here we are in C major, and there is the time signature. As we can see, there's 2 numbers. The bottom number shows us the value of the note. The value of the note per bar, and the top number shows us how many notes is in per bar. Per bar. So how many beats? So as we can see, the value of the note here is crotchet. Here the value is crotchet. And here say 4 crotchets beat per bar. So, for example, here we have C note. So as we can see, here we have 1 bar, as the time signature showed to us, 4 beats per bar. and it's 4 crochets per bar. So there is, here is 4 crochets per bar. Now we have rhythm. For rhythm, the thing that I can say, I will show you how we can play the beats per bar. As you can see, we are in C major again, and I brought here my metronome, and I will write down now 4 crochets again. And I will show you now how we can play that as a beat. Here is a metronome. We are in the 100 beat per minute, and the value of the notes is gonna go like that. So this is the rhythm.